So my brothers and my sisters, as we embrace this urgency of creating the beloved community, now is the time to be loved. Love means understanding, redemptive goodwill toward all, which seeks nothing in return. So be loved by implementing the demands of justice to eliminate the school to prison pipeline that has so many black children entrapped. Be loved by correcting voting policies that seek to suppress the votes of millions of black and brown people. Be loved and implement the demands of justice by transforming a society that is disproportionately violent toward black lives, including black transgendered lives and indigenous lives. Be loved and correct false narratives and economic policies that continue to divide and pit poor and working class black and white people against each other. Be loved and implement demands of justice where systems and structures are deconstructed and lead the way of living in community that reimagines just, humane, equitable, and sustainable policies, practices, and behaviors. Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them who hate you, and pray for them that despitefully use you and abuse you. Be loved and do justice and love mercy and walk humbly with our God.
Students with King serves as the King Center's flagship engagement platform for elementary, middle, and high school students, highlighting the legacies of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Mrs. Coretta Scott King, and the impact of the 20th century American Civil Rights Movement. Our dynamic and interactive programming has reached over 1 million students worldwide. Our core learning programs introduce students to the philosophy of Kingian nonviolence, coined Nonviolence 365, and provide important lessons about how they can apply nonviolence in their immediate environments. Whether you're an educator who is looking for ways to bring the King legacy into your classroom, a student who wants to learn more about this powerful moral movement, or a parent who wants to get your child involved in character building and literacy development activities, Students with King is your one-stop shop for unique lesson plans, teaching resources, educational field trips, and other opportunities to engage with the history of the American Civil Rights Movement and its powerful leaders. We look forward to engaging with you and your students. Together we can build the next generation of compassionate, courageous, and conscientious leaders.
Good morning. Welcome back to Student with King Reading Corner. It is so great to have so many of you joining us again. On behalf of Dr. Graves, as well as Dr. Bernice A. King and myself, I'd like to thank the educators for consistently supporting this program. Without you, we won't have the students, and without the students, there's no need for our existence. So we'd like to thank you for all you're doing for our students in our beloved community, and we'd like to welcome you back to today's Student with King. Teachers, I need your support. Please fill out the survey that I sent out. Here's a QR code. At this time, take out your cell phone and scan the QR code so you can start filling out the survey. So at the end of the program, you can hit the button and send it in. I get funding based on the responses. I improve the program based on your responses. So I'm asking you, please fill out the survey. Also, we want this to be an integrative type program. So please have your students to ask questions. Type the questions in the chat and we will respond to them. But I'm not going to delay it any further because I want to turn you over to a young man that's doing great things in our community. I'd like to turn the program over to our moderator, Mr. Tariq Wynn. Welcome back.
Good morning. How are you?
I am great. So good to see you. I'm so excited about our reader today. I understand that he's a great man that's a part of an Alpha Phi fraternity, but not only that, he's an educator in the Atlanta area. So I'm excited to see what he has to share with the students.
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited about it. And to the viewers out there, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all already know how we do it every episode. We kick it off with the roll call. So I'm going to shout some of y'all out who are tuning in. So if you are tuning in with us, make sure you shout out your classroom. Teacher, shout out your classroom. Shout out where you're tuning in from. And for those of you who didn't know, Students with King is an international program. We have somebody tuning in from India, Sundar Manuel. We got D. Shonda tuning in from Alabama. Miss Jones, second grade class in Atlanta. So we got somebody from Bmore, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, and then we also got Helen, great state of New Jersey. So yeah, we got a lot of people tuning in this morning. So I appreciate you guys so much tuning in. And we also got somebody from Liberia as well. Okay, listen, this is awesome. So I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in with us this morning. But we have an amazing guest this morning who has written his own book, and his name is Denal Wilmer. He is an award-winning educator, mentor, and author from Baltimore, Maryland, and he will be reading his book, The Great Book, A Kid's Guide to Understanding the Greatness in Extroverts and Introverts. And that is first of all, that's a fantastic title. So I want y'all to please give a warm welcome to our amazing guest, Mr. Wilmer. Welcome to the show. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Tyree. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well. We appreciate you so much for coming on the show and taking a few minutes of your time to be with us this morning. And you're going to be reading your book to the kids.
I sure am. I'm looking forward to it. This is actually my second children's book.
Okay,
talks about the greatness in introverts and extroverts and respecting differences. So I'm excited to share it with everyone.
Awesome. Well, congrats to you on your second book. Let's go ahead and get into the book reading.
Right.
I'll go ahead and tell the students while the book reading is going on, go ahead and comment your questions in the chat, and I'll have a chance to answer some of those when we get to the Q&A session. Take it away.
All right, guys. The Great Book, A Kid's Guide to Understanding the Greatness in Extroverts and Introverts, written by myself, Denal Wilmer, and illustrated by Cameron Wilson. Kids are unique and different in their own special way. Some stay inside to read, while others go outside to play. Your interests and talents say a lot about who you are. What makes you feel happy is most important by far. Meet two extraordinary kids, Tyrell and Chantel. They are confident and cheerful, if you can't already tell. They are two classmates who are distinct by more than just their names. Their personalities are different, and their greatness can't be tamed. Tyrell is a proud introvert. Do you know what that means? He's happy when he's alone. He doesn't always have to be seen. Chantel is a proud extrovert. She's a little different than this. She thrives in social settings and loves taking risks. Tyrell wakes up each morning to start his day of school. He cooks his own breakfast. It makes him feel really cool. Music and meditation can boost his mood each day. He walks to school alone. He likes to take his own way. Chantel jumps out of bed, energized and ready to go. She posts on social media to tell the world, hello. After breakfast with her family, she rides the bus to school. She sits and chats with friends and tells a joke or two. All right.
Oh, looks like we're having some
Do we have
slight technical difficulties
a
here.
little glitch there?
But yeah, it's live TV, guys. This is
It happens. It happens.
yeah, it happens, guys. So well, I guess while until I know the producer is working out the kinks, but until we get the book pulled back up, I do. So we're we're in the book now. So I see we got an introvert and we got an extrovert, and it's
Yes.
kind of crazy because, well, obviously I'm an extrovert. I mean, in this business, you got to be an extrovert.
Right.
And when I was in school, I would always get in trouble for talking. They'd be like, Tariq, he just talks. He's a good child, but he just talks too much. That'd be me. So what are you an introvert or are you an extrovert?
So the interesting thing about this book is actually based on a personal story between me and one of my very close friends who I went to college with. Her name is Chantel, and my middle name actually happens to be Tyrell. So that's the other character in the book.
Okay.
So in real life, yes, I am an introvert. I am an introvert, and my friend Chantel is an extrovert. So I basically wrote this book just to teach kids that it doesn't really matter what kind of personality you are or you have. You're still special and you're still great. So yeah.
I like that's a good message right there.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think we have a lot of students who are tuning in. We got a mix of introverts, mix of extroverts, but yeah, you gotta everybody is special in their own little way. So that's what it's all about. Definitely. We actually do have a question here. Tammy Bailey, she says, are the two main characters brother and sister?
Oh, actually, they're not. They're not. So when I continue reading the book, you'll see that they actually don't even know each other in the beginning.
Okay.
They don't know each other. They go to the same school, but eventually you'll see how their relationship kind of develops. So no, they're not brothers to become good friends.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. And then Chris M says, love that we get to hear these stories from the author. Yeah, these are some great stories, man. And I like, the authors that we've had on, it's like, I think everybody has had their own personal connection to their book.
Yes.
Which is even more special.
Definitely.
So, yeah, it's some good stuff there. But for the students, we may have some people who are just now tuning in, maybe some students who may not know the difference between introvert and extrovert. Can you kind of break that down for everybody?
Absolutely. And see, that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book in the first place, because there are so many misconceptions about what introverts and extroverts actually are. So the difference is basically where you get your energy from, right? So introverts tend to get their energy and they recharge with quiet time, with alone time. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're shy. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're quiet. It means that they're easily drained by social activity. Extroverts tend to get their energy through social activity. So that's the main difference there.
Yeah. And actually, so I was gonna ask you, if you happen to have your book nearby, we could just you could just continue where you left off. And
all right. Sounds good. So we're gonna do the old school way.
Okay.
All right. Let's see where I left off. All right. Okay. Tyrell is a proud introvert. Do you know what that means? He's happy when he's alone. He doesn't always have to be seen. Chantel is a proud extrovert. She's a little different than this. She thrives in social settings and loves taking risks. All right. Tyrell wakes up each morning to start his day of school. He cooks his own breakfast. It makes him feel really cool. Music and meditation can boost his mood each day. He walks to school alone. He likes to take his own way. Chantel jumps out of bed, energized and ready to go. She posts on social media to tell the world hello. After breakfast with her family, she rides the bus to school. She sits and chats with friends and tells a joke or two. All right, there we go.
Okay.
Their teacher assigns a project and asks for questions at the end. Chantel responds with excitement. Tyrell listens and takes it all in. Partners will be assigned and posted after lunch. Students wonder who their partner would be. No one has a hunch. Chantel has lunch in the cafeteria and sits with her friends. They talk about the fun they had over the past weekend. When someone asks if she will be going to the dance after school, Chantel replies, of course, and asks if they would like to carpool. Tyrell spends lunch in the library to study for a test. He is already prepared, but he wants to do his best. He smiles and says thank you when someone compliments his pants. Tyrell gets his work done early so he could enjoy the dance. Some extroverts love company, whether it's strangers or those they know best. Others enjoy their quiet time, as Chantel will show you next. After a long day of fun, there's one thing she enjoys most of all. Chantel loves to take naps and watch movies with her dog. She gets along with everyone and often thinks out loud, but having downtime to recharge is what makes her most proud. Tyrell spends lunch in the library to study for a test. Okay, we read this already, but we're going to do it again. He is already prepared, but he wants to do his best. He smiles and says thank you when someone compliments his pants. Tyrell gets his work done early so he could enjoy the dance. All right, next page. There we go. Some introverts are shy, quiet, or somewhere in between. Others can be different. Tyrell will show you what this means. Tyrell is a performer. He comes alive on stage. He always loved acting from a very young age. His friends make him feel comfortable. They show lots of support. They share common interests like traveling and sports. Remember the school project that the students have to complete? Tyrell and Chantel are now partners, and both think this is neat. They aren't exactly friends and have never worked together before. They greet each other that night on the school dance floor. Tyrell dances most of the night and has a really good time. He leaves the party early to get home and unwind. Chantel stays much longer and doesn't want the night to end. She enjoys the school dance, but most of all, she enjoys her friends. The next few days are crucial. The project is almost due. The topic is about respect and caring for those different than you. Chantel has many great ideas and is eager to prepare. Tyrell takes his time and organizes thoughts he can't wait to share. These two work well together. Success is at their reach. What doesn't come easily to one, the other person can teach. When they present their project for the entire class to hear, the teacher praises them both and students stand and cheer. Whether you like being with your peers or time in your own space, what makes you feel comfortable is what matters. You can run your own race. Extroverts and introverts are special in their own ways. Just ask Tyrell and Chantel. They're still great friends till this day. The end. The great book.
That was amazing. And let me tell you, there is nothing like a book that rhymes. It keeps me engaged. I like bars.
Right. Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. And we actually, and once again, guys, sorry about the technical difficulties, but it happens. But glad you had your book there. So we were able to roll with the punches. So yeah, I commend you for being prepared. So we actually have a question. So Tammy Bailey, why did you write this book?
That's a great question, Tammy. So the reason I wrote this book is because I really wanted to inspire students and teachers to understand that it doesn't necessarily matter what kind of personality someone has. They're still special in their own way. There's, like I said, there's different misconceptions about what introverts and extroverts actually are. A lot of people tend to think that introverts are like your shy and your quiet kids that don't really have social skills. And a lot of people may consider extroverts to be very loud and I don't know. There are so many different misconceptions, but that's not necessarily the case. And I wanted teachers to know like what kind of students that they have, and also make sure that you understand how kids are so you can respond effectively. So that was the reason why I wanted to write the great book, just to teach about the greatness that we all have, no matter who we are.
That's awesome. And then Teeny Jones, my second graders want to know, what is the title of your other book?
Yes, yes. Okay, so my first book, I actually have it here. My first book is called The Good Book. The Good Book. So this book is actually based off of a program that I started when I started my teaching career in Baltimore, Maryland. It was a program that was called Boys in the Good, and it basically taught kids the importance of being great leaders, right? So I wrote this book to basically teach other people outside of the program how to actually be an effective leader. So it's The Good Book, a kid's guide to becoming a successful student leader. Okay. I just read The Great Book, and I actually have my next book coming out next month, and actually just got the very first copy of it yesterday. So I'm very excited. And this is called The Best Book, the best book. So it's a kid's guide to overcoming everyday challenges and living your best life. So I have 3 books so far.
That's fantastic. I love it, man. We were actually able to get a quick preview of that third book. So yeah, we appreciate you sharing that as well. Patrick Scott Tanner, what is the difference between an introvert and recluse? Is the recluse who doesn't like people at all, or am I thinking of a different definition of people who hate all or most people?
Yeah, so to my knowledge, a recluse is someone who doesn't necessarily, they tend to avoid people, but not all introverts do that. I know for me, I'm not a shy person at all, but I easily get drained by a lot of social interaction. I have no problem socializing. I have no problem just having a good time, going out, meeting new people. I mean, I'm a teacher. I teach kids. I speak to people all day, every day, and I enjoy that. So I don't necessarily have that in me to avoid people. So introverts, they may have that quality, but they may not. So I think that's probably the main difference.
Yeah, really good question there. And then Tammy Bailey again. When did you write your first book?
Yeah, I actually wrote my first book in 2018. Okay. Yeah, so it's a few years old now.
That's good. Yeah, man, we got the good book, the great book, the best book.
Yeah, I don't know where to go from here.
That's awesome. And so I actually want to ask you about that. So good book, the great book, the best book, I guess. So obviously this is kind of like a series. So how did you come up with like that title, I guess that chain for all the books?
Yeah, it actually kind of just happened with the good book. I actually had no intentions on writing a second or third book. So the reason why I called the good book what it was is because it was named after the program that I started, Boys in the Good. And good actually represents 4 different aims that I taught the young men in the program. They were giving, optimism, originality, and determination. So everything that we strive to do was essentially good. So that's where I got the name for the good book. When it came time for me to write the second book, I said, well, why don't I just kind of keep it going? What kind of other book could there be? Oh, okay. It could be a great book. All right. And then I just kind of kept it going. What's after great? Okay. Well, you got the best book. So it kind of just happened, but it all started from the good book, which is based off of Boys in the Good, which I started.
Wow. I like that. So, and then Kaylin Wright has a question. What made you want to become an author? It's a great question.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that when I was a kid, I did not like to read.
Me too.
I hated reading unless it was a story that was of interest to me or something that I could relate to. But I was not very interested in reading. So what made me want to become an author is actually a couple reasons. One, when I started the program Boys in the Good, and I wrote the good book, I wrote that book because I had so many other schools and so many other people that wanted to know what was I teaching these boys. And I wasn't quite ready to expand the program and take it to other schools yet. So I thought, well, why don't I write a book? And that can creatively share all the lessons that I teach in my program with other students. So that's how the first book kind of came about. But as I was writing it, I realized the importance of just making sure that, especially children of color, that they see themselves in positive stories, because I think that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy reading. And when I think about how I wanted other kids to enjoy reading, I wanted to take an approach to make it more interesting, to have children of color, to have it rhyme, to make it fun, to make it personal. So that's basically why I decided to become an author. Yeah.
Fantastic. Roxy as Zokar.
Venezuela.
Greetings from
Wow.
Venezuela. Okay, Venezuela coming in.
Okay. International. I love it.
Isis, hello from Indian Creek ES, Mrs. McCormick's prepaid class. So yeah, we appreciate you guys
All right.
so much for tuning in. And then Janila Osby, I hope I'm saying that name right.
It's actually Janela. I know who that is.
Okay, Janela.
Yeah.
Thank you. And she says, how long did it take you to write this book?
So the great book took me a day to write. It took me
a day, really?
Yeah, it only took me a day. So
Okay.
I feel like I like to rhyme. Like even in my classroom, I like to create songs and things like that. So the rhyming part is probably what was the most fun and kind of took the most time. But when I have something that I want to do, I already have a vision for it. I block out everything and I just go ahead and focus on what I want to do. I focus on that task. So I actually drove to South Carolina to hang out with my grandmother that weekend. And I spent all day Saturday just locked in a room and being dedicated to writing a book. So it only took me a day.
Dang, so that's the key. You gotta lock yourself in a room. You gotta get it right.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, Angela, good morning from Evans Elementary, Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, Memphis.
All right, Memphis.
Hello from Ohio.
Ohio. Hey, Andrew.
Okay, and then watching from
Malawi. Yeah. Wow. Nigeria. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is an international program.
I love it.
Coming in, and we're about to close out the program in just a few. But before we do, we got another question. Are you thinking about selling the 3 books as a bundle in the future?
Oh, that's a great question. So that is my sister. Hi, Danae. Am I thinking about selling the 3 books as a bundle in the future? Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll talk about it, but the books are available on Amazon, but also on my website, especially when I release the best book, which is coming out next month. I will have options to sell the books collectively as a bundle. So yes.
That's fantastic. And I have one more question before we go. I have to ask you, so as an author, obviously there may be some people watching right now who say, I want to write a book. I want to get my book published. How do you go about doing that? How do you go about, getting the book published, getting it out there to the people, the marketing? How does all that play out?
Yeah, so I actually decided to self-publish my books. So everything that I did, I found an illustrator. I took the time to research the different steps that it took to actually self-publish. And I basically did that because I wanted to make sure I controlled all the rights and to put it in the right hands. So it just takes a lot of research. There's so many different resources out there that can not only teach you how to self-publish, but also how to publish and how to actually go about creatively putting your ideas on paper. So for me, it's all from my heart. It's all personal stories. So that's how I actually, kind of came into writing these books and making sure that I was able to present it effectively to the world. So yeah, just got to know exactly what your vision is, what your story is, and do the necessary research to make sure it gets out there.
That's fantastic. I love it. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm an author as well, and self-publishing is the way to go. I use Kindle Direct Publishing through Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, I use that and Ingram Spark. So
yeah,
so many different options.
Yeah, guys. So if you're interested in writing a book, these are some options that you can take to self-publish. And we actually have another question. This is from Mr. Donald Bullock. He says, will you consider coming back next year to share your new book?
Absolutely. Yes, this was a lot of fun. So I would love to come back. It's such an honor being here. So the answer is yes, for sure.
That's fantastic. And we got somebody saying, go, Mr. Wilmer.
Yay. Thank you, Mr. Wimby. He actually teaches at my school. So thank you.
Really? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wimby. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, viewers, Mr. Denal, thank you so much for taking time to come on Students with King. And yes, we do look forward to having you back next year for your other book. Viewers, thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been a fantastic Students with King. Of course, we're going to have another great one for you next month. So make sure you guys stay tuned into that. Stay tuned to the King Center social media we'll be posting about the next Students with King. Great pleasure being your moderator for today. I'm Tyreek Wynn. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. That's my Instagram handle at Tyreek Wynn _TV. And I'll turn it over back to Mr. Donald, who's going to close us out.
Yeah, what a great book that we had today, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you, my dear fraternity brother and author and educator. We appreciate all that you do to make a difference in children's lives. Thank you. Now we're going to also thank you for coming, teachers, once again. The QR code, please look at the QR code and make sure you respond to the questions we have there. But most important, please hit the button and submit it to me. I need all teachers to do this. And thanks, students, for your great questions. And once again, thanks for attending the Reading Corner. See you next month.